Calorie counting is garbage and it has nothing to do with your metabolic health or losing weight, right? It's a misnomer and misinformation spread by all the fitness folks and fitness companies who have made you believe that it is only calorie counting that can help you shed weight, right? If you really want to be metabolically healthy, you should not ignore your leptin hormone, right? So leptin is a hunger suppressing hormone. It is secreted by your fat cells, and your fat cell uses this hormone to communicate with the brain, telling the brain that you are full and you do not need more food. So in a particular way, right, it actually is regulates your appetite and regulates your satiety, right? So if you know leptin is so much important in our biology, right? How come we have leptin resistance, right? And the missing link is your microbiome, right? So your oral microbiome, when there's an oral microbial dysbiosis, it allows certain pathogenic bacteria to move via saliva to gut, right? And it trigger inflammation in the gut. This allows certain gut bacteria to produce endotoxin called lipopolysaccharides LPS, which overexpresses certain inflammatory molecules such as TNF alpha, which interferes with the leptin signaling and leads to leptin resistance, right? Second and the most important way is when your oral microbiome is imbalanced, it could lead to functional loss of nitric oxide production. And we all know that nitric oxide is the signaling molecule that actually tells GLUT4 to go to cell membrane, bind to glucose, clear it from the circulation, transport into cells for storage or energy, right? And when there is oral dysbiosis, because oral microbiome actually produces nitric oxide, right? So when there's oral dysbiosis, it actually leads to nitric oxide deficiency, right? And it leads to reduced glucose uptake, which raises your insulin levels, right? And high insulin levels actually interface with the signaling pathway that leptin uses to communicate with the brain, right? So what happens is when there's a disruption this signaling pathway, your leptin cannot communicate with the brain, and then you have instances of leptin resistance, and then you end up gaining weight, you develop diabetes, and even you have a high risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, right? So if you really want to fix your metabolic health, you should make all efforts to regulate the production of leptin, right? And this you can do by fixing both your oral and gut microbiome.